My name is Christian Basel. Years ago, I had an idea. I got myself a Tardis. Took it to new places, met a lot of new people, took some great pictures, and talked Doctor Who. From Krypton Radio and the creators of the Hangin web show, this is the legend of the traveling TARDIS. Join me on my latest adventures and become part of the legend. And welcome again, ladies and gentlemen, to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS radio show, wherever you're listening to us, on Krypton Radio, on iHeartRadio, on iTunes, wherever in the Hooniverse on the internet that you're listening to us. Thank you for joining us. And for those of you just joining us as new members listening, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for listening to us. We got some special things going on today. And I want to, first of all, start off, since we're heading into those months, as you're getting closer, happy holidays to everyone, whatever holiday that you just kind of dwell off to, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever. We want to wish you the best and safest of those holidays. Enjoy it with your families. I want to say some things more, but my brain has just finally, you know how you have that moment where your brain just runs off the cliff and then you're like, I know I have some other stuff, but I can't get to it. So everyone, we want to wish you and your families very safe and happy holidays, whatever that you are celebrating. Enjoy it this weekend. Enjoy it with your families. My name is Christian Basel. I am the host of The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, and I got two special friends with me today. My lovely artist friend, Melanie Dean. How are you doing, Melanie?
Hello, Christian. Hello, other super secret guest that he hasn't been introduced yet. And hello, everybody listening in for the podcast and watching on YouTube on our little our airing date. That's usually around 4 or 5 days after. Wait, no, we do it Mondays. When do we do that?
We do it Tuesdays.
We do Tuesdays. It's on Tuesdays for YouTube.
No, the YouTube we record on Tuesdays. The YouTube's on Mondays.
Right,
it's kind of been thrown around.
I know, because I know for a while, I think our podcast was coming out on, I heard it on Saturdays, and then someone said that at one point, I think we were trying for Friday, but it's definitely the podcast people, you guys listening in, you get the first scoop, and then when you want to watch what on earth we're doing, saying, and all our facial expressions during it, you pop back onto YouTube and during the premiere on Mondays, the following Monday.
Exactly. And if you want to keep up with us, join us at the Facebook. .com, the Traveling TARDIS. Give us a like and follow us on there, and then anytime a new episode drops, you can catch it on there, and we will let you know when we're doing our live chat feeds on YouTube, where you can input us and talk to us while we're watching ourselves talking to each other there, which is kind of a very weird, strange experience.
I just like how in the chat room it's us just saying hi to each other. Hi, hi, hi,
what are you doing?
It's like, how are you doing? Oh, watching the show, watching myself. What are you doing? Oh, I'm watching myself.
What made you wear that today on YouTube there? Speaking of what are you wearing today, because I have no best segments, I'm the worst segue person in the world, I want to introduce you to our friend from the rathole.co. Did I get that right? The rathole.
No, .ca.
CA, I'm sorry.
CA, Canada.
Canada.
Say his shirt.
Yeah,
just segue to the shirt.
I forgot what they do. We have .com here. I think they have .uk in the UK, and Canada has .ca. So there we go. The Maple Leaf is not because he likes maple syrup. He is our northern representative in the great country of Canada. We've got Mr. Dave Chapman from the rathole.ca. How you doing, Dave?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you guys?
Not bad. The holiday's been really good to me. We just got back from vacation. Melanie, were you saying something? I just jumped in front of you.
Yeah, I just like, that's not how I'm doing. But no, you went on vacation. You went on vacation. You went to, where did you go? Tell everybody where you went.
Tampa. That's where everybody goes on vacation for a while. I went to, because if anybody who knows me, we always go to St. Augustine to do the Christmas thing, because they have the million lights that light up the city, and it's just gorgeous. And we love to go on the trolley and just ride the trolleys around, and they play Christmas music. And at the end of the trolley ride, they have the cookies and the apple cider drinks, and it's just like it just feels so nice, especially when the temperatures are low and you're not too low. It's because you're outside in in one of those trolleys, and then you're freezing to death out there. But the million lights that you drive around and see is just so it just makes it Christmas. But this year we decided, we're going to check out the West Coast, and we did the Tropicana Field.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you know about the one in Clearwater. We did the Tropicana Field. It's gorgeous. Just for everybody who is joining us for the very first time, we're having something called Legend of the Traveling Tardis. This is 25 days of Christmas. And every day we either have Christmas music, Christmas clips from Doctor Who, Christmas movies, Christmas trivia, everything Christmas, known, and some of the hall mat, which we'll be talking about later, about a convention that will be, at least the Traveling TARDIS will be out, I think this coming weekend. When's this?
I believe so.
Yeah, no. Actually,
No.
home is the prior weekend. So we had a great time. So we go every year, and there'll be pictures. They're just slowly crawling up because I took a ton of pictures of the Traveling TARDIS out there, and it's just gorgeous. Tampa is just phenomenal. We stayed at a place called, because I kept joking about the Gilbert Godfrey.
Mm-hmm.
A hotel out there, and it was just right on the beach, and it was just phenomenal. And we were in driving distance of everywhere, and I'm not giving him a plug as much, but that's where we were staying, and we did Busch Gardens over in Tampa. So the Traveling TARDIS went there for their Christmas shows and stuff.
So were you in St. Pete or were you in Clearwater?
I was in both.
Okay.
More
Very nice.
we kind of just did the West Coast. We did Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater, and wherever we were going at that time there. So, but if you join us on the Facebook page, every day there's something going on, and there are new pictures coming in, more holiday stuff about the Traveling TARDIS. And definitely, by the time you see this, I've already gone to Holiday Matsuri, which is what people affectionately call hall mats, and that we'll have pictures from there as well. So be on it. You're going to get some good stuff up until the 25th of December.
Hooray! So, what is going on? And since we're kind of doing more of an informal kind of show, the Hangin with team they get to have a little bit of a holiday break from us. So we're kind of doing this show with the three of us. Yeah. So Christian, is there anything going on in Who Knew News?
Yes,
There's your music.
Oh, okay. We have, and this is all information on the Facebook page as well. David Tennant is going to be starring in Around the World in 80 Days, and he's going to be the lead character. What's that? Phineas Fogg? Phileas Fogg?
I think it was Phileas Fogg, because I know a lot of people keep texting like saying Phineas, but I think it's because their auto texting is the autocorrect is kind of going crazy. I want to say it's Phileas Fogg because there's an L. Let me double check.
So yeah.
Okay. What do you guys think about that? What do you think about that? Has that movie been overdone? I mean, I'm still having a weird taste in my mouth with the Jackie Chan film. So.
Oh, well, I mean, it's Jules Verne. I really like anything that's gonna. I would like to see. I don't know. You know what? Let me just go with I don't know, because the Jules Verne wrote it, like it was 1870, like maybe 1872, something like that. So I don't know if they're gonna go as traditional with, I mean, it's in a balloon. So Lord knows that they're going to go with that timestamp if they're going to do more of a steampunk thing to it. Because really, Verne was like he's the reason why a lot of steampunk stuff kind of came out, and that's really hot right now. So Lord knows what they're going to go with. The only thing I know is that he's been slated to play the main character. I know nothing else. So kind of excited. We'll see what happens. They go time period piece on it. Kind of fun.
There you go. Now, we just received, by the time you get this episode, and this is on the site too, if you want to check it out for yourself, we have the first look on the episode 1, which will be premiering this New Year's Day. Now, here's the question. Does that mean the series is going to be right after? Or is it just the New Year's Day special?
Honest to God, I don't know.
Yeah,
I get my news on. It's sad. Is like I follow so many different pages on Facebook, and then different chat rooms. Our own little traveling TARDIS chat, and it's so many people have said different things and then cited different sources, and it's I I'm just gonna have the TV on, honestly, and if it comes on, woohoo! If it doesn't, I won't be
Set the
surprised.
DVR.
Exactly. I guess I'm just
But
gonna
but
turn
everybody's
on
saying the
Netflix,
new.
watch Father Brown. I don't know. I'm 80.
But I've been saying the new series, the new episode, at least for the New Year's Day episode, will be on New Year's Day. But I was like, well, does that mean the series is falling behind it, or is that going to wait a little bit longer? And I hadn't seen anything about the new series per se. We just know it's coming out this year, and we had the holiday special. But the first episode is with Spyfall, and we got to see Stephen Fry, which I thought was awesome.
Mm.
I thought that video was cool with Stephen Fry, just like being a spy and everything, especially when he did the Sherlock Holmes movie, the second movie with Robert Downey Jr. and it was just being Mycroft. I don't know. Stephen Fry is awesome. That's just
Now, is this going to be the same thing that they're going to do with the in cahoots? Oh God, I can't think what the heck words I want to use that are appropriate. With the Fathom event where they're going to be televising
yes,
everything. It's with that particular one on New Year's
yes, and I don't know if that's yours.
or New Year's
I'm
Eve,
looking in
Dave.
for information, but you can check Fathom events and
That's where I get all confused.
we can
Because at one point they said something that there was going to be a live segment, but now I don't know if it's really live or it's they show the episode. Maybe they have their actual air date that we'll watch on our TVs and DVRs and whatnot. And then you go to the Fathom event, which is a rebroadcasting of it, and then has a live component. That's where I'm so
traditionally Fathom
confused. Somebody
events.
out there find out.
Yeah, traditionally Fathom events will actually air usually the episode like the week after, days or a week after the episode airs on BBC and BBCA. But I'm still trying to get more information about this. We'll try to find it on the Traveling Tardis. So hopefully we post it up there later on up there. Our friends at Doctor Who Velocity, Chris Phillips and Crystal Moore, they have a new fan series. That's combined with a group called DW 2012, and this is pretty much like a multiverse of Doctors. Like it's almost like a multiverse of Doctor Who, and you got to check it out. There's a link to it at thetravelingtardis.com. And my friend Gene Turbo, at this moment, just wanted to let everybody know that they are closing in on 9,000 subscribers on their Facebook page. They're just about, by the time that this recording's happening, they're just shy of a little over 100 people just to like their page. If you haven't checked out Krypton Radio, go for it. Our shows premiere every Saturday on there. Timings and schedules, if you go kryptonradio.com, check out the scheduling. You can find out when our shows premiere in that area. They're usually the first ones to get our episodes. But Krypton Radio is just shy of it. We help those friends out over there at Krypton Radio. Give them a like. Yeah, I've got 1 minute left. And I just want to quickly draw on this, and maybe we'll take it over the commercial break. We lost Big Bird, which I feel bad about.
Yep.
Carol Spiney, he passed away. And also Star Trek took a big hit. Incredible hit. I know of one actor whose name eludes me right now. He was in the classic series. And a man who I actually grew up with, Benson, in the Benson days. I don't know if you remember that TV show.
Yeah.
That was a spinoff from Soap. Renee, I'm going to screw it up, and please forgive me, Renee Auberjonis. And
Auberginois.
Auberginois. Thank you, because it was going to be worse.
Yeah,
unfortunately, he lost his battle to lung cancer. The husband of Marina Sirtis has passed away. I mean, we're just having Star Trek fandom is just really, really just, we wish them all the best out there. But unfortunately, we are on a hard break. When we return, Dave, Melanie, and I are going to be talking about games people play, especially Doctor Who games when we return. So please continue listening and continue to become part of the legend.
Alien invaders enslave Earth.
Unleashing hunters into the ruin wastes.
One young survivor struggles to elude their monsters, clinging to hope.
When he's stolen off the planet by a sarcastic starship AI, they pit their uneasy alliance against a treacherous galaxy.
Explore a whole new verse of barbarism and betrayal.
Wonder and adventure.
In the Scion series
by Michael J. Allen.
Beginning with Book 1, Scion Conquered Earth.
Available in print, ebook, and audio on Amazon.com. It's Germany, 1938. Charlotte is a 15-year-old girl living in the Jewish quarter. George lives in the city proper and enamored by Charlotte's charm and grace when she wanders into his cobbler shop. George decides right then and there that he is going to marry her. Follow along as this unlikely couple struggles to stay one step ahead of the Gestapo and their dramatic escape from Nazi Germany. Good Things Always Happen in Springtime, from author Joanne Fisher, on Amazon.com today.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. My name is Christian Basel. You're on, if you're listening to us, you're listening to myself, Melanie Dean, Artist Melanie Dean, and my favorite right-hand girl. You're just like I don't, you see, I hate using the terminology because I don't, is like assistant, companion, friend and everything, because she's all of that. She's basically...
When I actually pick up the phone.
Yeah, exactly.
I literally have such.
I'm gonna say this straight, and I'm just gonna geek out a little bit. Folks, you see Melanie on here, and she's taking over for the show when I can't be here at times out here. But you don't know how much more she does behind the scenes. And I'm gonna be honest. After a year and a half of doing this, if it wasn't for Melanie, I would be it would be a complete insanity. And she really lifts up my spirits. She really takes care of the show when I can't, and she's been really there as a very big crutch. So yes, there you go, my heart for Melanie Dean.
Aww.
Because
Thank you, Christian, that was very sweet of you.
I just want to let people know what she does, and I hate to say, oh, she's my right-hand girl.
Like one size. Not all three, because I'm still pretty evil on the inside, but I'm still great. Okay. But still, one size just went whoop. Okay.
And we got Dave from the Rat Hole.
And also there's Dave.
That's it. There's Dave.
Hi. Still here.
Still here.
Let you go. Listen here. I'm watching the show just like everyone on YouTube will be.
There's one other thing I just wanted to mention, which, and this is posted on the Facebook page, is a picture that I shared from the Doctor Who Facebook page, which really... I didn't understand. It's like, whoever made this, I don't think understands the principle of Doctor Who, but it's called Exciting News. You are now a time traveler. And if you ever see those things where it's kind of like where you choose your own, like if you go this direction, it's yes, or this direction, no, they ask you a question. And I just didn't understand this picture. It's just, where do you want to go, past or future? Okay, fine. And the next question is, and would you rather go to Earth or go to space? And I'm like, okay, that's fine. But the third question is, now pick a fight with. And that's the one I couldn't get my head around with. And the two choices are the adipose and the Daleks. And I just couldn't. It's kind of like, do I want to pick a fight with the Stormtroopers or Baby Yoda? I mean, like, I can't really get my head around this. Because the adipose weren't really bad guys. They were just babies. They were
little baby facts. Yeah. And they were all, you remember, I mean, the biggest thing that you're going to think about is them, be floating away and them waving, right. And Don even saying, I'm waving at Fat. And they're all happy little babies.
I was like, why would you pick a
fight with them?
It wasn't their fault. It wasn't their fault. They were just kids that were, and unfortunately, it did take a human life to make them. But, I mean, pick a fight? First of all, never understood why the Doctor would pick a fight in any case, even though if you're a time traveler or not. And second, why would you pick a fight with the adipose? And then they give you the option of joining forces with Donna or Rose or the Pawns or why is her name falling off my head?
I can't see the photo, so.
Oh, okay. It's I'm sorry. It's one of the current companions, and it should be Yaz. Oh God.
Is it Yaz?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yaz. It's Donna, Yaz, Rose, or the Pawns. And it's like, good luck. Try not to change the almost said something. Try not to change the course of interstellar history. Oh, and it's just like, I don't understand this. I don't get it.
I don't. To make a flowchart that.
Okay.
Well, what was the first? Okay, what was the first question on it?
Okay, I'll see if I can. I don't know if you can see it here. I'm gonna try.
Oh, good lord! Oh.
Yeah. Can you?
Grab it. What's that first question?
And where do you want to go, past or future? Which is legit. Okay.
That makes sense. Past or
And then
future.
the second question is, and would you rather rather Earth or space? Okay, that
And that makes
makes
sense too, because a lot of it is, do you want to go to space because this episode has a budget, or
right.
Earth because this is on the BBC? So you have
now,
to kind of pick. Or if it's the third Doctor, we didn't have, we're going to
now
make you a
pick
spy and you're going to be here.
now pick a fight with, and it's the
That makes
adipose and
no
the
sense.
Daleks. And I
Why
actually saw
fight
some
the
people put
adipose?
the adipose. I'm like,
Why
what?
would I fight adipose? I would welcome them with open arms. I mean, I don't want to, become like nobody, but I mean, if a few little things of fat want to just fly off my thighs and
They're
become
just
adipose, I'd be
kids.
happy. Let's go
Don't
ahead.
feed them frogs, but I mean, they're just kids. I don't know. That just really just like okay. And some people actually picked adipose, which I thought was crazy, but okay, fine, whatever. But moving on. I just wanted to get that out of my system. We're going to turn the table over to Miss Melanie Dean, who's going to be hosting our show, Games People Play. Melanie, tell me about Games People Play.
That was a good segue. Okay, and we're
Really,
done
that's one
talking
of them.
about
Yeah,
that. Let's go,
I
Melanie.
told you I had the horrible
By the way,
segue.
Dave's here.
And
So
there's Dave.
basically, as you
Still
guys
here.
could
Hi.
tell,
I got it.
still here. Hi. So as anyone who's still listening, um, hasn't turned it off yet, we're going with a very informal kind of episode, and this happened because we already did like an episode just on toys and just talking about different types of toys we had, our favorite ones, all those kind of things. Then we did an episode just on, it was just basically merchandise kind of stuff. We did another follow-up episode just on stuff that we would wearable, so t-shirts or accessories, ties, all that kind of stuff. We were just kind of chit-chatting about that and all different types of licensing, the stuff that's out there, and the stuff the artists make, so supporting your local Etsy shops. Now the other idea we were thinking of was games, and when we first brought it up, Dave was like, whoa, 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 whoa. This is me, this is my thing.
It's him.
So this is his thing.
Mhm.
So we're almost going to have this almost like an interviewee kind of segment. And this is we're going to try to remember and keep our podcast listeners first and foremost in our minds, in our thoughts, in our prayers as we're talking about this, because it's going to be very visual. Because on our YouTube segment, you'll be able to view this, and you'll see that Dave has on your screen a lot of different Doctor Who games. Now, for me, when it comes to Doctor Who games, I'm always thinking of, I'm not really a big gamer, meaning I'm just kind of getting into certain board games. I'm kind of getting into certain card games. I usually don't go full licensing kind of stuff. I've had themed or licensed Monopoly boards where, surprise, surprise, no matter what license you put it on, it ends in an argument and someone flipping a table and we're done because the game never ends. It just ends in an argument. But I remember having Clue and saw it at a local comic book shop, and it wasn't just Clue, it was a Doctor Who Clue. So I was like, oh, sweet, I want that one. And I know Doctor Who also has licensing like on Yahtzee, where if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, guys, I think the Yahtzee is actually a Dalek, or is it a Tardis? There's different versions, isn't there?
It might be. I think there's both versions, like the Shaker Cup. I think it is
exactly.
both versions of it.
It's like, well, I remember one being a TARDIS, and then there was like another bigger version of it. And I think it was actually the Dalek, the red one. So to get more people into it. But then as we're kind of chit-chatting, we find out that there's more games out there. And this is why we're like, Dave, what other, he mentioned Doctor Who Flux at one point, and I'm like, I'm sorry, what are you talking about? So we're gonna have Dave kind of talk about a little bit of his favorite games, the favorite board games that he has, and all the fun that he has. So Dave, I'm gonna start off the first question with, of all of the games you have, which one is your favorite?
Oh,
I gave you a hard question, right?
You did. Honestly, though, just for straight fun playability is the one you just mentioned, and that's Doctor Who Flux.
So, in the style of games that you have, I guess I should have started with to visualize for our listeners. When I say board games, I have a tendency of also wanting to encapsulate that it's not just a board game where you think of what you had, a Game of Life, Risk, that kind of stuff. there's so many different subcategories or subgenres of board games where there's card games and other kind of things. So as somebody just hearing, oh, I have games, and all I thought was video games and board games, what are the subgenres of board games? Like, can you explain a little
board
more?
Board games is almost a subgenre itself of tabletop games.
Okay.
So
yep. There's the word tabletop.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Analog games works as well, but tabletop games, video games, I deal just with analog tabletop games. I review them. That's what I do. That's what the rathole.ca is all about. In that, you've got card games. So you do have things like Doctor Who Flux, and it is a card game. There is the Doctor Who card game. Shocking, it's a card game. And there's a couple of versions of that. There are dice games. So there's Dalek Dice, which has all these fun little Dalek dice that you just roll out, and you're trying to actually succeed as the Dalek, and the Doctor messes you up.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's got some interesting mechanics. There's the role-playing game. And I'm going to back up one more step on that. There's been at least three role-playing games so far. There is a solo role-playing game that you can track down online that is completely unlicensed, unofficial, fan-made. I know it exists. I haven't dug deeper than that. Back in the 80s, there was the Doctor Who role-playing game. And there was a bunch of supplements to that. That's an era for me that I didn't know there was anything beyond Dungeons and Dragons. It's kind of neat. Eventually, I'll probably pick them up just as out of curiosity thing. The most current version has two titles: Doctor Who Adventures in Time and Space, and then just Doctor Who role-playing game. There are now 4 versions of this core rulebook. The core rulebook doesn't change the rules between those 4 editions. It just changes the branding and the theme. So the most current one is Capaldi's 12th Doctor. Now that he's no longer there and there's more to it, they're coming out with what's called a source book. So it's going to be a book all about him and the rest of his era, because this came out during his first season.
Okay.
But they also have other ones. So there's the
he's showing. Say it's the 8th Doctor, and it's that 8th Doctor where you see a lot in the photos of that Big Finish uses. So it's a lot of Night of the Doctor, that kind of war just before he's about to become war. That style that's on the cover. Yeah, and then I can see it's a lot of fun.
There's a little bit. They got the old version of him there, and they got the old version on the cover there. But these are really fun. This particular set also lines up, so all the Doctors together form like a picture on your bookshelf.
Oh, on the binding, the end of the book binding. Really neat. Okay.
I haven't had a chance to dig into the source books on that one yet. Just the main game, and it's a lot of fun. It's a simple system. You can get dice that come with it. In this case, they've got neat little things, and a lot of the art is the same because it is the same company as the Dalek dice. So we've got, and then of course you've got your board games. So dice games, board games, card games, and role-playing games are kind of your 4 main ones. And trivia games, which kind of sometimes split the difference, like Trivial Pursuit. Shockingly, there is in fact a Doctor Who Trivial Pursuit.
I think, isn't there a couple versions of that? And
I'm not sure.
And there's Christian's.
Possible.
In new box.
I've only ever seen. Yes, I've taken mine out of the box because I have some questions that I can ask you two. So before we go to a commercial break, because I think we have to do that, this one I have handpicked this question in the category of cast, crew, and beyond. Okay. Sylvester McCoy, aka the 7th Doctor, starred in the movie adaptation of The Hobbit, but who did he portray? Radagast, Saruman, or the Goblin King? And those of you who are watching us on YouTube understand why I cherry-picked that question. Anyone care to answer, you two, for the people who are on the podcast?
The YouTubers are getting a big hint right now, so take it away. Oh my goodness.
Give us the answer, Mel.
For the people who are listening on the show, behind me I have a lot of my paintings, and one of them happens to be Sylvester McCoy as Radagast the Brown. And this is a painting I did of that character, and I'm going to kind of show off for the YouTubers. I have him sign it, and fun fact, the way he signs, he always puts in the Y, a Roman numeral 7. So I have him written as the 7th Doctor on Radagast the Brown.
Looks like a fish.
I gotta hang that back up. Okay. So,
Chris,
you want to go to break?
We're on a hard break, folks. But when we return, more games people play when we return to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. So stay tuned, stay logged on, and continue to become part of the legend.
Now on Amazon.com, iCoin from author Jeremy Mosby. It's an alternate reality, and the leader of the planet iCoin is none other than Benjamin Franklin. When corrupt officials threaten not only iCoin but the Earth as well, an unlikely chosen one, Jeremy, must face dark foes to save the Earth and iCoin alike. Author Jeremy Mosby takes readers on a superhero's adventure through this compelling and imaginative alternate universe. Get iCoin on Amazon.com today.
Jackie Sonnenberg's My Soul to Keep is a ghost story rooted in the realities of actual cults. When 13-year-old Sky Monroe arrives at her new boarding school, all she can think about is death and connecting with the afterlife. Soon she discovers her school's spirituality group, the Guardians of Light, and they have a secret. They can speak with the dead, and the organization is a cult. But this isn't Sky's only problem. The campus house where Sky resides is haunted, and even the ghosts have an agenda. They intend on getting the souls they want. Filled with mystery and intrigue plucked straight from the headlines, author Jackie Sonnenberg's research and attention to detail give this ghost story an even more eerie atmosphere. Find My Soul to Keep on Amazon.com today.
And welcome back to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. My name is Christian Basel, your host on this ride for Games People Play. I'm here with artist Melanie Dean. I'm here with the rathole.ca, Dave Chapman. And he's got games galore. If you're watching on the YouTube, you're getting an eyeful candy of games. If you're looking on the YouTube and you see Melanie, you're just getting a very beautiful woman. And if you're looking at me, God forbid, I don't know why you would be looking at me, but go for it. Anyways.
You're on the screen.
I'm on the screen. So people know. So people. But yeah. Oh, you know what I forgot? Doctor Who Legacy? What is it called? The app.
Yes, the app games.
The app
It's funny enough, those were the ones I played, and that was one that is done. Tiny Rebel Games stopped supporting that one. I think it was at the beginning of this year on January, just after January. I was a huge fan of that kind of the bubble, move around the bubbles kind of mechanic of game. I played, Lord knows how many times I played that, like waiting in lines and stuff at San Diego Comic-Con. But no, unfortunately, my brain eludes me which game they ended up moving on to. I never downloaded it because I think it was just a little not too intense. It didn't grab me, so I haven't tried it yet. But yeah, Tiny Rebel did Doctor Who Legacy, which was an app-based game. Another kind of game just to kind of throw in there for a quick notion is the Lego video games. And where you could go buy the packs, where you would go, I can't remember the name of it. You would go to Target, you go to Walmart, you go to GameStop, or wherever you want to go, Amazon, whatnot, and you could get the Legos, and that you would actually be able to take those and add the component as you're playing the game. I cannot remember Lego Dimensions, because you could buy the one of the 13th Doctor or 12th Doctor. And but no, one of my favorite things about playing the Lego games was that any of the Lego games, if you were running around as a doctor and you jumped off something, hit something, or if another companion came over and bashed you, if you were playing 2-player or whatnot, it would regenerate the doctor. It would go, all the Lego pieces would fall apart, and it would come up as the next doctor. So there's times where I was just running until I could become the 4th Doctor. I'd run around and hit myself and then become the 10th Doctor. Or I'd run and be the 5th Doctor and completely just run over something because I'm never a big fit Dr. Who. But anyway, it was just so much fun. But anyway, those are video games also. But this show, we're going to kind of go more of the tabletop games, which now I'm going to use my vernacular correctly. The cool thing with the RPG games is that I'm used to Dungeons and Dragons is like the one everyone kind of remembers first. And then I know back in the late 70s, or actually really the early 80s, is when you started seeing a lot of other people coming out with different books of whether or not it was role-playing games of like aliens or other types of things like the Terminator movies, like that kind of going with that kind of style of futuristic, Armageddon kind of RPGs kind of stuff. But I always know that with those style of role-playing games is that you always they're very original character specific. You're building your own person. In the Doctor Who ones, are your own characters? Are you playing the Doctor? Are you playing companions? How does the RPG games work for the Doctor Who universe?
The most current one can be either. There are rules there to be able to set up your own individual characters. You could be a different Time Lord. There is a source book all about unit, so you could actually all create a bunch of unit characters and do your story based around that. Paternoster Gang has one. I don't have that one, so I don't know where they focus that. But they do have built in, because it's the Doctor Who role-playing game. Everyone wants to play the Doctor and or companions. So they do have pre-built characters for those. Mm-hmm. And in all of the versions, even the core game has it. Obviously, like I said, this one's built on on Capaldi's 12th Doctor. I do not have it fast. No, so I'm not going to.
No, that's fine. Now, again, I'm going to correlate a lot to D&D, and I'm sure some our listeners would do the same. In regards to the RPGs, who would be the role of like the dungeon master? Who's the person who's narrating the stories in these? Or is that even a component?
Morgan
for
Freeman.
playability?
It's very much a thing, and it does change. No, they changed the name of it for everybody. Do you think I can remember? I review a role-playing game a month. Do you think I can remember what this one right off the top of my head?
But I assume that you already get your character sheets and all that kind of stuff.
There is someone who does it, yes.
Okay. Someone has to be the master.
Of some sort. Yeah. There's just straight game master in this one. And it's a term that is only semi-trademarkable. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like superhero. Technically, there's trademarks on superhero.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's one that's pretty hard to enforce.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, Dave, I actually had a book, and I don't know if this is, I guess this constitutes as a game if it goes in, but I had, the longest time when I was a kid and I'm sure I have it somewhere if I find it, Invasion of the Ormazoids. Do you remember that? The Choose Your Own Adventure books.
I never had that one. Choose Your Own Adventure books were great. They're sort of a game.
They're sort of a game. Where do you think the line goes when it stops being a game or it's a toy or something else?
Yeah. Sometimes it's a really close, I'd say because it's interactive, I would call it, a game. You're making choices and doing a thing. I would call it as much, at least, a game as anything else. And Choose Your Own Adventure, the people behind that have actually come out with actual board games in the last couple of years as well. I have not had a chance to play those ones, so I don't know at all. But I wonder if they're going to try and get the Doctor Who license back.
Honestly, if you think about Choose Your Own Adventure, it was like the first time you could ever use a Control-Z in a way, because that's what your fingers were in between pages. You're like, okay, well, it's gonna, and you kind of crack the book open just to see if you see the words "the end," and if you see the words "the," you're like, oh no, I don't want to go in that game. I had a Indiana Jones Choose Your Own Adventure off the top of my head. Sorry.
Yeah. No, so it's. I would say that's a type of solo role-playing game, really.
Another question for your because as I'm looking at the desk for the role-playing game, what are the figures that you have in the foreground? I'm seeing some little are reminiscent of die-cast figures. I also see a large cat that just jumped.
We also have a cat. Right. Interfering cat is interfering again. I wasn't able to lock him up.
Jodie Whittaker on the Planet of Evil Cats. The game.
So you could theoretically use these. The role-playing game, unlike a lot of them, doesn't rely on a map so much. Just not how that particular one. Okay. Doesn't say you can't. But these guys are actually from a different game. It's a little hard to see them. These ones are just plastic. They're not great. This is the 4th Doctor and the 11th Doctor, and they actually come from Time of the Daleks, which is a game from Gale Force 9, and they who have a lot of big licenses. They also do a lot of the Star Trek stuff. On top of these plastic figures that come with the game, they do actually have good paintable resin miniatures.
Ooh.
So if you're like painting stuff, you can buy these guys and paint them all up. This is one the review is still coming on for me. It's really kind of a neat game, though. If you die, so let's say I'm here, I'm playing the 4th Doctor, I die.
Yeah.
I'm no longer the 4th Doctor. I regenerate to the next highest Doctor number that there's a figure for.
Oh,
so now it could be, in this case, 11. And if you're playing with 4 people and 4 different Doctors, everyone shifts Doctor.
Oh, really?
Wow.
And everything, I would imagine everything that Doctor has done so far. So if I'm playing and I'm getting further and further along in the game, and then you die, do you take off after everything that I've accomplished as well? Or just the piece?
Just the piece. And some of the abilities and stuff is in there, but what you have done, you continue to do. So now you may have the 1st Doctor sitting there with the palms.
Oh, okay.
It's a neat little game, and they have come up with the main version comes with the 1st Doctor, the 4th Doctor, of course, and then 12 and 11. And then most of the other Doctors are coming in 2 Doctor expansions. In this case, it's the 7th Doctor, the 9th Doctor. So you will get companion cards, you'll get those figures, all the stuff you need to play, and I believe it also lets you move up to a 5-6 player count.
Oh, wow.
Just the main one. If you're still only playing with 4 players, and you would regenerate into the next Doctor who's not in play if they're not in play. So if I've got the 7th Doctor, I'm playing the 4th Doctor, I die, 7th Doctor comes into play, everyone rotates, pops out. So it's a neat way to address the regeneration thing.
Yeah.
I had it all set up to play, and everybody that was supposed to come over that night ended up having things happen. So it's like I haven't even had a chance to do more than flip through that one. I only got it in summer, so I'm still working on some of these reviews, but there's some fun stuff. And yeah, the figures are recognizable in plastic. In resin, they're obviously a little bit more precision.
Yeah. Now, one thing I have noticed with gaming in general is that a lot of tabletop games, you need people in person to play. Like you're saying, is like you planned out the night and everyone for one reason or another didn't show up. The other thing is the other thing is that I've noticed is that a lot of people who are more of that introvert. Or an introverted extrovert. If you're an introverted extrovert and you need people to play, but maybe your friends don't necessarily like playing on board games, all that kind of stuff. I notice a lot of like the comic shop near me. One of them, they have a tabletop. They have a whole area where it's just tabletop time, where you come in, bring a game, find some people, and we'll try it out. That being said, I'm noticing a lot more online that there's this neat little trend with tabletop games. Again, so many are coming out and people want to play. You can't find somebody to play. Maybe you live out in the middle of nowhere. That one of the reviews you're seeing is if they're Skypeable, where you could find somebody else, either your friends on Tumblr and you get on your friends on Twitter or whatever. You find people, you Skype, and you can get, have a game going on. But seeing some of these games, do you have games like that where you would recommend going, yeah, this one you could probably be able to Skype, or this one, yeah, not really. You really have to be in person to kind of go through everything because it's really card based. Is there anything that you would recommend for those people who want to Skype, i.e. if we ever wanted to get together and do one on the Traveling Tardis episode and we're trying to play a game? I'm looking over at you, Christian.
Role-play games are obviously great for that because you don't have to hand anything around. You just need, and there are a lot of online platforms, not just Skype, not just, Facebook Messenger or whatever. There's Roll20, there's all sorts of different actual game sites that are designed for playing role-playing games online. And they, depending on what system you want, may have built-in tools to help run those games, or they may not, and you just fake it with what they've got. And other stuff, trivia games are obviously really good for doing that. A lot of the games, you have to have your own set of stuff. So you could easily play the Rory Story Cube version of Doctor Who, where you roll the dice and you tell a story based on what these icons are. Anyone could do that, but I need a set, you need a set, whoever else is there. Right. And that is often with a lot of the tabletop games, that's kind of the downside. There are emulators that will say, okay, great, I can go play Suro, whether it's an app, whether it's just an online Steam version of the games. So that is an option as well.
Well, folks, we're up in a heartbreak butt. Dave, you got another question before we go on that break.
I do. So let's see. This one will be in the category of Time Lords. Which Doctor's outfit featured battered flimsolls?
Oh.
Battered what? Flimsolls?
My answer's right here.
And
I'm saying 10.
I'll give the correct answer after we come back from our break.
When we return from the Legend of the Traveling Tardis, when we return, you're going to get an answer to that question and more talk about games with Dave Chapman from the rathole.ca. When we return, please continue to log on, stay tuned, and become part of the legend.
Deborah Parmley's Jenna's Christmas Wish.
Santa, if there's one thing I want for Christmas more than anything, it's someone to spend Christmas with. Someone who really wants me to be there.
Head to the mountains of East Tennessee with romance author Jenna Hart for a Christmas writer's workshop. Since her mother passed after a long illness, Jenna has had one wish. She doesn't want to spend Christmas alone. Meeting Niccolo Maldini, cover model and actor, could make more than Jenna's Christmas wish come true. Unless Ember, Niccolo's ex-girlfriend, does something crazy to stop them from being together. It's a mountain Christmas romance you won't want to miss in Deborah Parmley's Jenna's Christmas Wish. Now on Amazon.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Legend of the Traveling Tardis Games People Play. My name's Christian Basel, the host of this show. My right hand, beautiful, wonderful, talented, lovely artist. Yeah, there's not
too nice. You're too
Skype,
kind.
Skype can't hold that ego. So anyway, Melanie Dean. And we've got Mr. Dave Chapman from therathole.ca. You got to check out his stuff too on Instagram and just follow him. Not literally, just follow him and his work, what he does here. And he's going to be answering the question. First of all, I didn't even know what that item was, so I just guess anything battered has got to be the second Doctor. So anyway, what was the answer to your question? What was the question first again, Dave? Remind everybody.
The question was, which Doctor's outfit featured battered plimsolls? And Melanie, would you like to tell people what that is?
It's a shoe. It's a Converse, to be precise. A canvas-style sneaker.
Oh, it's two.
Which Doctor would that be?
I believe that would be the 10th Doctor, portrayed by David Tennant, with his battered, beigey Converse. Maybe they were once white, but they were battered because they went with a suit. They were battered plimsolls.
Correct.
Yeah! Sorry.
I've got a question, and I want to remind people of a game that I liked, I never played, and it's only because of a video that came from this game back in the 80s called Destiny of the Doctors. And I don't know if anybody remembers that. I think it was on Commodore 64 and such, but it had a video. It started off with a video of Anthony Ainley as the Master, and I think it's cool. I'll try to post that when this episode drops, a link to that. But it started off with the Master going through all. What he does is, I'm looking at Wikipedia to try to remind me of the thing. The Master is captured a planet of pure psychic energy. It's called Cyrilos. And he traps all 7 incarnations of the Doctor, but he's going through each one of them and explaining which one is each one. And he explains like the second Doctor is like the comedian. He goes through each persona, which is kind of cool. And the player is actually a companion who's trying to save the Doctor and run around things. But do you remember that game at all? It's called Destiny of the Doctors, and it was a big thing at the time because I think it was the only video game at the time that actually had a video of an actual actor in the actual game.
At the time, that'd be about right. Yeah, I
So I'd
vaguely
take-
remembered existing. That's it.
That had been one on those the big
Yeah.
5-inch 5-inch floppies because
I
it had a
think so. I
video
just-
contained on it. So it wasn't on the internet if it's on the Commodore. Because I remember a lot of the Commodore
Yeah,
games.
this was a really old game. It was a really really old game. It was the platform was Microsoft. It was
Oh.
back in released in December 5th, 1997.
Okay, so that was on a computer.
Mm.
Yeah, because the
And-
Commodore I don't think would have the graphics in order to do.
I guess it
I know it
was.
did Pitfall. I
I
know Commodore, the old Commodore 64 and the 128 used to do. Hi everyone, we're all showing our age right now. It used to do, you could put floppies in it. But I also remember the biggest thing about it, which would be kind of cool in today's standards, is that you had to write code in order to play anything. And I remember having a game that actually was a book, and you would read the story and everything like that. And then after each section of this book, you had to go into a Commodore and you had to write code. So you were writing line by line, writing all this code for it to do something, and then it basically became some type of game or something, or a formula or something that you could then actually interact with and play, and then you kept reading your story.
It would drive me crazy because you would have that dot matrix of forever. You're like, write this code, and 3 weeks later you will have a game. And it was that long. It was like 10 start, 20 go to, 10 or
that go to start, go to, yeah.
What the heck is that crap?
Yeah, there was quite a few computer games out there where you had to get a book and you wrote the code. You wrote in the code, and the next thing you know, you had all the graphics and you had everything out because you just installed your own video game yourself. Which kind of
cool part about it is if you could figure out the code, you could actually change the game so you could have unlimited lives and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So cool. You just rewrite okay, 5 lives. No, I've got unlimited here. Yeah, Commodore 64. Oh, yeah, we're dating ourselves.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you two a question about games. Is there a particular game base, I guess for a better term, that you would like to see Doctor Who appear on that it hasn't? Like I'm going to give examples just so that, but like an actual video game, like a Tron game. I haven't yet to see an arcade-style Doctor Who game. Or what kind of game platform do you think Doctor Who should be on? It could be a Rubik's. I'm just coming up with that, but just like a Rubik's Cube or something of that nature. Because I did Atari have a Doctor Who game? I don't think they did. I don't know.
I don't think so. I don't think Atari really didn't have a lot of licensing at that point. I think it was really Nintendo and Sega was the ones that really realized what licensing could do. But even then, it was that was they were all in house. All those kind of things built their own stuff and off they went. But to answer your question, at San Diego, I got a chance to play the Doctor Who Oculus game, the one that's I can't remember the name of it. I know I just wrote it down somewhere. And that was like my first foray in trying the Oculus kind of system.
Mm-hmm.
It was interesting. I mean, it was a little bit of it was a little clunky only because you're trying it at the BBC booth, the BBC America booth. So you couldn't really be walking around and everything because next thing you know, you just punched somebody that's lining up to you in their head. And you had somebody next to you kind of help guiding you just to stay in your own little kind of space to pick things up. But it was kind of neat that you could hear Jodie Whittaker talking. You heard 13 saying, I need to do this and that kind of stuff. Huh?
The Edge of Time.
Edge of Time, yes.
Edge of Time, okay.
So there was a part where you had to find a radio and you had to build a contraption to do something. So it was a lot of fun. Right now I still haven't seen enough games where I would jump into getting, the VR system. Yeah. So personally, my wish list, since I'm going long-winded here, would be another type of game where I could play where, I hate to say first-person shooters because I like first-person shooters. But that style of gameplay is some type of a console base where if you could make, here's the wish list. If you could take the Uncharted franchise and somehow make that a Doctor Who story, I would be all in. Because you have a lot of puzzles, you have a lot of riddles, you have jumping around, you have to evade, that kind of thing. That's what I would
Well, they have an escape room. they have an escape room game. I know they have one out there somewhere. I don't remember what the escape room game was, but is that something close to what you're thinking about?
Not really. Because I think it's escape room is just it's one and done.
Yeah.
But no, if you ever played any of the like the Uncharted franchise, anything from like Naughty Dog, that kind of style of
Oh, okay.
kind of a first person shooter. But the thing is, you don't want to shoot, but I would want all those other kind of fun puzzly kind of things to do.
You see, I'm on the track where you're thinking because I would like to take when I first played at the Magic Kingdom Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin. I always thought, what could they do to morph it so that it would work in Doctor Who somehow? And not only that, but I would take, if you remember, do you guys remember Horizons from Epcot?
I had not.
I didn't visit it when I was there, but I remembered existing.
Okay,
I've seen YouTube videos of it.
Yes, in the panel in front of you, when you had to return to Earth, you had three choices. You could come back to Earth by space, by land, or by sea. And I always thought it'd be cool. What if you were in a dark ride simulated video game, and you got to pick your doctor who would be your voice to wherever you were going. Like, so if you were in the ride and you picked the third doctor would be narrating the whole thing and telling you what to do and telling you what to shoot, or the 11th Doctor or something like that. I always thought it'd be on the grand scale of a dark ride, combining it with the technology that they have today for like Disney does with the Toy Story ride and the Buzz Lightyear Space Rangers. But I thought that'd be cool.
First person Dalek shooter.
Right, exactly.
You're a Dalek.
You're
a Dalek. Just for Melanie.
There we go.
For me, again, I don't do video games. So it's more what game would make a good adaptation.
Right.
Pandemic, I could see having a Doctor Who skin very easily. That one's based on it's an ever expanding viruses, and you have to try and fix this. So that ever expanding amounts of Daleks and Cybermen and stuff. That could be a very good Doctor Who game. They did do a Cthulhu-based one that I think they kind of downsized a bit too much. But I'm surprised there's not a Doctor Who Risk. There may well be, but I don't think there is.
I'm surprised about how the what is it, the Hasbro games?
Yeah,
it's like
everything.
Doctor Who Yahtzee and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about these games is. You get people who are they're a fan. Okay, great. I see Doctor Who. I don't even, maybe I'm buying a Christmas present. I don't know if they like that. Oh, there we go.
There we go. Yeah, there is a Doctor Who.
There you go, Doctor Who. I thought I had seen one somewhere. There we go.
It is, and it's the Dalek invasion. There, it makes sense.
If you're not looking at the YouTube channel, Melanie found on her phone, she's showing it on the YouTube, there is a Doctor Who Risk game out there, and it has a picture of a Dalek on there.
And it's the Dalek invasion of Earth. Which makes sense for the overlay for them to come in and take over everything. Oh, everybody's Daleks. Oh, the different colors. You get 4 different colors, and they're all Daleks. It's that's your pieces. You're invading and taking over. That's amazing.
Yeah, and see, you see something and you go, oh, I like this property. I want to do it. It might be Monopoly, for whatever one's opinion may be on Monopoly. It's still there. It's big, it's huge, and it has those hitches. Okay, great. I'm going to get you a game, and it might get you hooked on a game. Maybe it is Yahtzee. Flux, coming back to where I started, this is a really simple game that's easy to learn. You can pick it up, play it. They've also got a brand new 13th Doctor expansion. It's only the size of a booster pack if you want to get some extra stuff in there. And Looney Labs has not just Doctor Who. Looney Labs has put out literally dozens of themes of Flux. You don't usually see it in Walmart, but if you go to any gaming store, brick and mortar gaming store, you're going to find a Flux. Even if you're not a Doctor Who fan, if you're watching this and listening to this, if you're not a Doctor Who fan, but the person you're buying it for isn't a Doctor Who fan, get it for them anyway. There's Star Trek Flux, there's Firefly Flux, there's Batman, there's Wizard of Oz, Monty Python.
What's the price point on Flux? Because it almost seems like a great stocking stuffer, considering the holiday.
$10, I think.
Yeah, US, I'm not sure. It's under 20 Canadian, so it's anywhere from
Okay.
10 to
You're looking at like 10,
10 to
15.
20 bucks. Yeah,
Yeah.
10, 15 bucks. So it's not hard at all. It's not big. This box, for those who aren't watching, is the size of basically two decks of cards side by side.
Okay.
It's not big at all. It's a weird game, and it really is one of my favorite. I've done a bunch of different Flux versions, just because I love it. There is no goal. The goal is constantly changing.
Oh, really?
You could win, you could lose, and you could force someone else to win because you have to play it. If the current rules is you draw one card and play all of your cards, and one of the cards you end up playing could make that person win.
Oh.
You don't have a choice but to play it. It's not a long game.
Mm-hmm.
It takes, what's the listed time? Listed time is 5 to 30 minutes, which is accurate.
Oh, it's nice. It can be fun.
It's very, very fast. So,
very cool. One thing I was going to ask you, Dave, is before we wrap up and go, I did notice before when I was researching some games and like figuring out, seeing all different types of top tens and stuff on the internets. I did notice that for a lot of tabletop games that there were a lot of in this list that you have the official, where it was like, this is, here's the board game for Flux, here's the official. But then I noticed other ones that were just saying fan made, that there was a fan created kind of thing, and I didn't realize that's a thing. That's a huge thing. We're like, oh no, this is the fan one, and I'm looking through them going, oh, that's interesting, and then seeing one that was the Talons of Wang Chiang, or Chiang, is that the one that Christian loves so much that he'd go back and change? So I saw that, I'm like, wait, so is that a huge? So is that is that a really big underground kind of thing of having different types of, I guess, expansions or whatever that are fan driven and that other people
can be,
play?
It certainly can be. Like I said, there's a whole role playing game that is completely fan made of Doctor Who, and there's lots of websites out there. If you're looking at somewhere like Drive Through RPG, you're looking at games that are official. If you're going through, wandering through, there's a site called Board Game Geek.
That was where I was on.
You can find a lot of stuff because they are a very multi-purpose. There's a lot of forums there. There's a lot of communication. So you will get a lot of that. And some sites will host, design a game contest.
Oh.
It doesn't have to be licensed. I saw a game that was designed as a Star Trek game and is now been released as not a Star Trek game. Mm-hmm. So it can be a starting point for a lot of people to do design stuff. Because I love this idea. The Doctor would do this, and you write it all out, and you do that, and you go, this actually is a reasonable game. Mm-hmm. I'm not getting this license. So let's change this to not the Doctor.
So how can we call this?
Yeah, so it can be a starting point for some things, and it can be a just straight up fan-made extras.
Okay.
It's definitely a thing that's out there. Cards Against Gallifrey or every other Cards Against theme. None of those are official.
I love Cards Against Humanity.
What do you guys think? One more question?
Yep, real quick.
Okay.
We're up,
All right,
we're up against the
we're about to end, so let's do it.
All right. What was the name of the street in London that housed the scrapyard that the first Doctor lived in?
Oh.
As they're thinking, so that's kind of the range of hard in.
I have an idea.
I think
mine's wrong, but do you want me to say my wrong one?
Go for it.
Coal Hill.
And what's yours, Christian?
Foreman. Where they
it is Cutter's Lane.
Cutter's Lane. Okay.
Itself was I Am Foreman's.
I Am Foreman's was.
That's.
So there are some ridiculously hard categories and questions, and there's some really softball stuff in this game, which is what Trivial Pursuit is all about. So,
gotcha. Well, folks, we're wrapping up this particular episode, and again, we want you all to have a safe and happy holiday season. Dave, where can people find you? You've been on the show before, no problem there, but just I want to remind people where they can find you and where they can find games that you're reviewing.
So the website is therathole.ca. Facebook or Instagram also at therathole.ca. On Twitter, therathole.dot. CA, because thank you, you can't put a dot in a name on Twitter. I'm going to set up sometime between now and when this actually gets broadcast, a page just for all of the Doctor Who games, the ones we talked about and others. But generally speaking, we've got content anywhere from 3 to 7 days a week. So you can check us out on the website or all of those social medias.
Sweet.
Stay tuned. Next week, we are going to be talking about our predictions for the new episode, Spyfall, premiering January 1st of 2020, starting off the new year. Wow, it's been that kind of day. Folks, thank you for joining us here at the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. And again, please have a happy and safe holiday. Please keep in touch with your families because they're important to everybody. And we want to wish you a happy and safe holiday season. I know I'm saying that a lot, but we do, because we want to see you again in 2020, to be here, because we're going to be starting a lot of activity, a lot of conventions, as also we review Jodie's episode for Series 12. You're going to like what you hear. I guarantee it. Thank you, folks, for joining us. And always become part of the legend.
And we are out.
Fart, fart, nose pick, fart, 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 fart.
Didn't stop recording. Left that in for the Hangin with team to enjoy that. Ha 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 ha. Sweet. That's a damn good episode.
Yeah.